Get some instant analysis. Welcome in CBS Sports MLB writer Matt Snyder. Matt, bottom of the 15th. I mean, this is what dreams are made of as Cleveland walks it off and into the next round. Your reactions, what?
Oh, that was fun. It was an incredibly fun way to end it. Once we got into extras, you knew if the Guardians were going to win the game, it was going to be a walk-off, which means it's going to be a walk-off clincher, and those are always fun. To see the home crowd get to go crazy like that, see the team getting to celebrate on the field in front of the crowd. It kind of looked like it might swing the Rays' way in the top half of the inning, and I kept flashing back to it was so long ago, the 6th inning, maybe, when the Guardians got the bases loaded, nobody out.
You're accurate.
For Jose Ramirez. And, they get the strikeout and then the double play, Jason Adam with the Houdini act there for the Rays. And then once the Rays got first and third and one out in the top of the 15th, I was just like, oh, you know what? I think the Rays are going to force a game 3 now. And I just kept thinking back to that 6th inning and that's where the Guardians should have won it. But hey, they got the 2 strikeouts to get out of it at the top of the 15th, and then you hit a home run. One thing about some of those marathon extra innings games is it's so hard to string hits together, as we just saw on the top of the 15th, where the Rays got those 2 guys on but couldn't get them home, that it seems like somebody's just going to have to pop a solo home run, and that's going to be it. Happened to be Oscar Gonzalez after the SpongeBob walk-up music, and the series is history.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. He's had the SpongeBob SquarePants walk-up song since the minors, and they asked him, back when he made his debut with the Guardians this season, why he has it. He says, kids love that song. It's a kid's game. And I love the fact that he has that perspective as a rookie to realize that this is a game, but it's so much fun. And you see all of the celebration there. There's that young man wearing the SpongeBob SquarePants costume there. By the way, that's a company guy right there wearing the SpongeBob. Viacom right there. So that's good on him. Those are my Cleveland folks right there in celebrating the walk-off homer. But the fact that this team is so young, what does that mean? Is it just because we talked about it going into this week? Are they just young and they just don't know? Like, they're young, and we always said young and dumb, and they just go out there and play with free.
That's one of those things. That's one of those narratives that you can easily latch onto is, oh, they don't know what the moment means. I think they know. But I think, when you're younger, maybe you feel a little bit less pressure. You kind of have that nobody expected us to be here thing. And especially somebody like Oscar Gonzalez, because not a top prospect heading into the year. They didn't really have plans for him to be even a bench player, much less a full-time player hitting toward the middle of the lineup. And he was unprotected for the Rule 5 draft in 2020, which means even in the minors, they were not concerned if somebody else would have drafted him and taken him away from them in the Rule 5 draft, and he didn't even get taken. So it was like nobody wanted him that bad for the Major League roster. The Guardians didn't care to protect him. Look where he is now. He's a very important player after a breakthrough rookie year on a team that's advancing to the ALDS to face the mighty Yankees. And that's going to be a really fun one. Maybe they've got a little revenge on their mind there. Remember in 2017, the Guardians had the best record in baseball and got knocked out in the ALDS by the wild card Yankees.
They had a 2-0 series lead.
Maybe it's time to turn the tides and turn the screws on the Yankees this time, from a team that most people did not believe would even make the playoffs, much less advance to the ALDS.
Yeah, they had a 2-0 series lead in that series, and then they lost 3 in a row. I remember that fondly. Hey, real quick, everybody that watches us, I'm a Guardians fan. And it's the first year of the Guardians, and obviously it's bringing some folks back to the ballpark that didn't want to assume the team name, didn't want to warm up to the team name, and this team has been so fun to watch. 17 guys make their debut this season, the youngest in all of baseball. But real quick, we got to touch on Sam Hench's 3 innings, 6 strikeouts. There was runners at first and third in the top of the 15th and gets back-to-back strikeouts. I mean, that is huge because they had been relying on Emmanuel Clase, then this bullpen just match for match with the Rays, and it was a lot of mixing and matching with Kevin Cash and Terry Francona. But how about the job that Sam Hentges did with 6 strikeouts, going 3 innings in relief?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's extending beyond your comfort zone there to get the 2 runners on, where only a sac fly is going to get the go-ahead run home. And to get those 2 big strikeouts right there, it would be really easy to overlook that and not give him the props that he deserves. So that's good to give him a call out. And I'll add Eli Morgan to the list too, because there was an injury and he got thrown into the mix there kind of at a moment's notice and had to drop everything and come in and throw more than an inning as well. You can't say enough about this bullpen all year. It's not just Clase who's going to rightfully get most of the attention, but it's on down the line there. And also, again, Terry Francona, just knowing what string to pull. at any given moment. There's nobody that you trust in these moments more than him to make the right decision. The front office obviously trusts him with all their heart and lets him do whatever he wants, and rightfully so. He's earned that. When you hear so much these days about front offices meddling with managers and not trusting them to make decisions, it's nice to see somebody like the Guardians with Terry Francona and how well they work together, and see him make these decisions and do things like extend somebody like Hinch's late in the game and trust him and not panic and take him out when there's runners on first and third and let the dude work out of it. And he did. Just a great game for the Guardians, great series for the Guardians.
Yeah, Tito's about to win his third American League Manager of the Year award, his second with the Cleveland Guardians here. As for the Rays here, this was their fourth straight postseason. We know they came up short in the World Series a couple of years ago against the Dodgers. What's next for them? Of course, they're going to go back to the locker room. They're going to shower. They're going to get on the plane and go home. But what's next down the line? What do they have to commit to? Because they spent a little bit more money this season, but this is not enough to get over the hump. And I'm sure the Yankees were actually, they didn't want to see the Rays in the next round. They wanted to see the Guardians because the Rays had the Yankees number this season. But in terms of what the Rays do next, what do they need to do in the offseason? Because this is the second straight year that they go out early in the playoffs.
Well, I assume they're going to do their thing, and they're going to go out and they're going to find guys that are kind of cast-offs from other teams. Maybe it was a Harold Ramirez type, or grabbing Corey Kluber to throw him in the rotation. I expect them to trade Glass now. I know that's probably not what a lot of people want to hear, but he's got 2 years left, and it's backloaded. But this will be the time that they can get the most back for him. So I think that that's probably going to be on their short list and items of business. And again, I know it's probably not what a lot of Rays fans want to hear, especially since he just worked back from Tommy John surgery, and he looked so good today. And him and Tristan McKenzie put on an absolute show, but it was so far in our rear view right now, we didn't even talk about them. But yeah, let's mention both of them looked great today. But yeah, I expect one of the main things they'll do is they'll trade Glass now just to kind of restock, and that's just the way they do things. And so it makes it difficult for somebody like me to pinpoint who they might be going after, because who's going to predict them going after someone like Harold Ramirez? So I don't know exactly what players they'll target, but that's what they do. They'll be competitive again next year. They'll grab a bunch of guys, and it makes you scratch your head and say, wait a minute, why did they make this move? And then they'll still be good, and they'll still be in the playoff mix.
Rays move over. The Guardians move on to face the Yankees. Game one of the ALDS on Tuesday in the Bronx. We know about the struggles with Cleveland against the Yankees this season. They went 1-5 against New York, got outscored 38-14 in those games. Now that you know what you know from this series, does that change your evaluation going into the ALDS about Cleveland and New York matching up?
No, I'm never too worried about the head-to-head regular season matchups heading into the postseason, because any game, different stuff can happen. And not only that, you mentioned your Cleveland fandom. As a Cubs fan, I think about 2015 when the Cubs went 7-0 against the Mets during the regular season, and then the Mets swept them in the NLCS. So it's always like, it's a clean slate there. So I don't think that there's any carryover there. I do think that they still are in very good shape with Bieber and McKenzie there heading into that series and not having to do anything in Game 3. Even though they extended a bunch of people in the bullpen, they don't play until Tuesday. So you get those 2 days off there to kind of restock everything. They're going to be good to go with Bieber in 2 and McKenzie in 3. So I think they're pretty well set up how they want it. The Yankees will probably go with Nestor Cortez in Game 1 and Garrett Cole in Game 2. I think it could be a really fun series. Hopefully it goes 5. I don't know if you want that, because you might need the blood pressure to stay down a little bit. But I'd like to see it go 5 for entertainment purposes, and we'll sort it out from there. I think it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it will be. I'm excited to see what happens. Again, Game 1 on Tuesday in the Bronx, but on this day, the Guardians walk it off. The 13th walk-off homer to clinch a postseason series, the first in Cleveland postseason history. A hat tip to Sarah Langs. Our thoughts are with her, who she's battling ALS, one of the best writers in baseball, one of the best content creators in all of baseball. Certainly our thoughts are with her, but a great note from Sarah as she continues to battle. And the Guardians move on thanks to the walk-off. They will face the Yankees in a best-of-5 beginning on Tuesday in the Bronx.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.